I would start recapping work, but that would take more than the time we have for the panel. So just to highlight a few, Stimson J. Cat, Quail Man himself, Doug Funny, Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, Philip J. Fry, not to mention others from Futurama, obviously. I could go on and on and on. He's been a source of joy and entertainment for literal decades. Please help me welcome Billy West.
How are you? How did all these people get in my room?
I'm so happy to have you here. We're all really excited, and it's been a long time since we've gotten to do one of these in Phoenix, so thank you so much. Yeah, there's been a thing going on. People got sick, and people couldn't go out into the world. So what we'll do, pretty typical format. I'm actually just going to go ahead and start with a question. And then, like I said, if you guys want to start lining up, I already see some beautiful people down there. We'll hand it over to the audience, and then you guys will...
Beautiful. Everybody's in the spirit of things. I have to say, for real, there's no place I would rather be right now. Because if I was out walking around skulking, and I'd be brooding, and I'd be sad, like from watching the news, at least I can be in a place where people are feeling joyous and celebratory, and everybody's kind of on the same page. There's never any trouble, except maybe you get a drunken Deadpool. But no, I mean that sincerely. No place I'd rather be.
It's funny that you say that, because there were some first-time photographers that were talking to us the other day when we were here, and they're like, is there anything we should know? And I said, first and foremost, never trust a Deadpool. Don't do it.
They're getting a bad crowd.
Well, they've had plenty of time to go to their rooms and think about what they've done, so hopefully we won't have any trouble this weekend.
I've seen an Aquaman, and who's going to replace what's her name? That liar. You know who it'll be? It'll be Kevin Hart. It always is. You know what? I like to cut his foot off and carry it like a lucky rabbit's foot. Just for good luck, stuff starts happening. Yeah. My lucky Kevin Hart foot.
And it would be small too, so you could really pocket size.
Like the way you play the game. Circle gets the square.
So I actually have a question for, I know a lot of people are going to have questions about your voice work, which goes on and on and on, and we could talk about that. I was actually really interested to hear that you are an accomplished musician as well. You played guitar for Brian Wilson. I saw the names like Roy Orbison pop up. So that was really interesting to me. Does music still play a part in your life today, and how so?
You know what? I made a living playing music. I was in bands before I did any kind of voiceover stuff. And I used to be on stage, and if you broke a string, I was whiny and nasally and complaining. Not unlike Fry. I would be like, because that's the voice I used when I was 25. I sounded like, oh man, I just broke a string. Now what am I supposed to do? Shit, an amp blew up. We don't even have roadies. Yeah, that's how I sound. But I played music for years, but not much original music. That was the big mistake. I wanted to make a living. It was harder to play original music and get discovered and all that. But I came up in Boston, and I'm old enough. I mean, my friends were all the guys in Aerosmith and Pete Wolf from the Jay Giles Band. They were all friends of mine. I knew Aerosmith when they were playing like dive bars, and my band would open up for them. But our agent booked them and said, "You gotta go see Aerosmith." You know, he spoke kind of funny, and he said, "You gotta go see them. They're gonna be the next big thing." And so I went to see them, and me and my drunken bass player, I said, yeah, they were banging into each other on stage, and I said, "These guys are never gonna make it." I said, what the hell kind of a name is Aerosmith? You know, and it has to start somewhere.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, I
for
played
that.
with Brian Wilson. He was one of my idols from the Beach Boys. He wrote the soundtrack to my teens. The guy that wrote Good Vibrations, I was standing right next to him on stage. I couldn't believe it. We played on David Letterman. And there were two weird dynamics. I was standing on the same stage where the Beatles played on Ed Sullivan. That was the theater. And then I'm with Brian Wilson, the guy that wrote, you know, Good Vibrations. God only knows, you know, and he's a very, very interesting person. He was the closest thing to an angelic being that I ever met in my life. He experimented with drugs for so long that he became almost like an amateur human being. But he was all, musically, he was all there, you know, it was unfortunate what happened to him, but he recovered over the years. And, but he put me in his book. You know, he just wrote about the night we played on David Letterman, and he mentioned me, and I said, I didn't even think he knew my name, you know, I was just playing with him. But lucky me. That's the thing about now, the future's unwritten. Everybody's sitting here, you have no idea who you're gonna be shaking hands with, or who you're gonna meet, or how they're gonna influence you, or vice versa. That's the beauty of the ride. You know, if someone told me that those things were going to happen, if someone told me that the stuff I do right now was going to happen to me, I wouldn't have believed them. I'd be still trying to fix my string on my guitar.
And it's nice, I love that you say that too, because, you know, over the years, when I was younger, like a lot of us females that were teens in the 90s, I was mad, man. I was angry about everything, just angsty teenager. And, you know, as you get older, you start to relax, you start to calm down, you start to just really see beauty in other people.
You know what happens? I'll tell you why that happened. You mellow it out because life has a way of knocking the piss out of you.
That.
You know, and then you don't have time to like get mad at everybody.
That's right.
You start thinking about how you relate to the world in a different way. Like you said, you start thinking about who's important to you, who you should say I love you and that you're important to me.
So you never know. It's like, I mean, you could pass somebody in the hallway here and have an interaction, and you don't know who that person is, what they're going through, and you also don't know what opportunities are going to come up in the
Or
future.
you might run into them in a whole different world.
Right.
I don't mean like the other world. I mean like in this world. You know, there's people that I passed. Like one time I was on a show. My friend was a writer on a show. It was the Joey Lawrence show. What was it? I forget. He had two brothers. Brotherly Love, thank you. Yeah, so I was on there, I was a guest, and I just had a walk in and just, you know. But I walked outside the building where they were shooting, and it was the studio on, it was Columbia Studios on Gower Street in Hollywood. And as I walked out on the lot, I see this woman on a payphone. They still have them. And I recognized her and I said, "That's Katie Segal from Married with Children." You know, and she just kind of looked at me like, you know, like I was invisible. I was like, "Oh, hi." You know, and like, you don't know what the future holds for you. Now she's my girlfriend on Futurama. You know, and she is just great. She's a musician too.
Yeah, she has a band, right?
She had a band, and she invited all of us one time after a Futurama session, and I went to see her. We all did, and she sang a song that practically made me cry. I'm ultra sensitive, you know. I'm on the spectrum, and I'm, you know, an empath and every other thing. And she came over the table. "Did you like it?" And I said, "Katie, no offense, but I don't know if this means anything to you, but you remind me of Laura Nyro." Laura Nyro was a woman that wrote a lot of the Fifth Dimension songs like Wedding Bell Blues and Stony End. I don't know if you remember those, but she wrote all this stuff. And I said, you remind me of Laura Nero, and she said she was my idol, you know, so. But I mean, here we are, like, sitting, talking music, and all the worlds kind of came together at once. And she was part of my future, I had no idea.
That's amazing. Do you mind if we kick it over to the audience? You guys have